Hey losers, I'm Coral. Welcome to my channel. If you're joining me for the first time, what a great video for you to start with. I'm going to be talking today about my plans, reading-wise, for Halloween-a-thon. I have my co-star here, Haunt. You can't see, but I have another co-star, Fangs. She's very spooky, and she's taking a nap. She's completely unhelpful. Very quickly, Halloween-a-thon is a readathon put on by Kelsey at Slime and Slashers. It starts September 20th. That is the first day of fall, and it runs through the end of October. Our last day is Halloween. It is kind of whatever you want to do. You can watch things, you can read things, you can do activities, you can do all three of those things. That's what I do. You could do that just however you want. You can also print off a game board. If you'd like, make your own game board, do bingo, or just like kind of do whatever. The whole point of it is to be spooky with your spooky friends. It's really so much fun. I'll leave a link to Kelsey's announcement video in my description. If you want some more deets on that, I really highly suggest you watch that and like join in because it's really so much fun. But today I am going to be talking about the things that I have planned for Halloween-a-thon. As far as reading goes, I'm going to do a separate video on my movies too if you'd like to watch that, but I think I know people here like movies, but I know a lot of people here like books because that's what I talk about. So I'm gonna get rid of the spooky co-host for now. And I'm gonna talk about the books that I want to read. Most of them are novellas. That's what I like to read in October. And with the way that Halloween-a-thon is set up, I can do that. I can do literally whatever I want short of committing crimes. And you know, if you commit a crime or two, who's gonna know? So I like to read novellas. That's been my thing for quite a few years now. I save up my novellas, my horror novellas, and some spooky nonfiction ones that I've picked up off my shelf. And that's what I like to do. I like it. I think a novella is kind of my favorite form of horror writing. It's just long enough to where you can have a good story, good character background, and like a good plot. And it's also short enough to where I'm not like, wow, I've been reading this for a really long time. Then I get to read a bunch of different spooky scenarios, a bunch of horrible scenarios I'm trapped in until I'm not, and then I move on to the next one and I can read like 20 of them, you know, in a month. It's my favorite thing to do in October. And now I'm going to tell you about the ones that I have planned. Some of these are a little bit longer than novella length, but they're still very short. Okay, so also before we start, I did not reread the synopsis of every single one of these, so I can give you maybe a little taste of what these are about, but honestly, some I don't really know for sure. So here first, oh my gosh, I really cracked that spine. To start out here, I have Coupe de Grace by Sophia Adram, and this is about, it's like a liminal space horror, as far as I've heard. This is about a man who goes down to use the subway system and then finds himself, like, trapped in this subway system, no way to get out, and it's really empty until he suspects that there might be somebody in there with him. And how creepy is that? I really wanted to get to this. And the thing is about, I need to not restrict myself so much because I'm like, I'm not gonna have anything to read in October if I read this right now. And then I have like 40 to 50 books that I can read in October. I have them here. I haven't read them. I have too many now. So it's silly of me, just a silly thing my brain does. Sorry about the air conditioner noise. It's loud in this room. And I mean, I can't get around it. I have to use it for like 9 months out of the year, but we're coming to the point where hopefully we won't have to do that for a couple months. But that time's not today. So next on my list is Crypt of the Moon Spider by Nathan Ballingrud. This is like it takes place on the moon. On the moon, there is this like treatment for melancholy. So people go there and it messes with their brain in some way, and also I believe it's like the product of some sort of fucking spider that they're using in these people's brains, and that's just about all I know. Apparently this has a sequel. Intriguing. Maybe I'll like it, maybe I'll read the sequel, I guess I don't know. Next on my pile is We All Rot Eventually by Mia Ballard. This is a story about a young woman who moves to LA. It takes place in the mid-2000s, and she's gonna try to make it big in Hollywood, and we know how that will probably go, especially in a horror novel. But I've been so intrigued by this. I love the cover, I love the time setting, and I hope it's full of Britney Spears. Then I have The Bedmakers by Chad Lutzke and John Bowden. Sometimes I really like these novels that are written by two authors. Sometimes it also doesn't work, but the last one I read that had Chad Lutzke, I think it was Chad Lutzke and Tim Meyer, was like really seamless. It was really good, so I'm looking forward to this one. I hope it's just as good. This is about two men, unhoused men, who they like make this decision. They're like, we don't want to be unhoused here anymore, so they take a train. I think this takes place, where is that? 1979, so it takes place in the late 70s. They hop a train, and before they get to their destination, something really bad happens, and that's just about all I know about it. But I obviously want to know more though. What happens? What kind of train crimes going on out here? Then we have, oh my god, one I've been dying to get to. This is The Last Haunt by Max Booth III. I love their books so much. I think Max Booth is just really so funny, and I just like what they write. So this is about a haunted attraction, right? Like one of those haunted experience, I don't know what they call them, extreme haunts, where you go through and people can touch you, like the actors can touch you, and I would never subject myself to that. Those people are so brave and maybe a little bit crazy. So I don't exactly know what goes on in this, but I know that it has to do with the extreme haunts. Then I have a sci-fi horror. I'm really excited to hopefully get to this too. This is The Scourge Between Stars by Ness Brown, and this is about these people on a colony ship. Think like, I don't remember what the ship is called in Prometheus, the alien movie Prometheus, right? Where they are a ship full of people and embryos and plants and animals that are going to colonize another planet, and it should just be this colony on here and everyone should be fine on there. However, people start dying, and so they know there's somebody bad on the ship, but will they be able to find them? I love sci-fi horror, period, but I really love when it takes place on a ship like this, somewhere that's really confined. It's got a lot of enclosed spaces, and it's the fact that like you can't escape, period. You can't just like walk off the ship. You can't just leave the house. You can't just call the police, you know? So that is very fun, and oh boy, I'm excited about this one. Then we have Dead of Winter by Keelan Patrick Burke. Now this is a winter horror book, and perhaps I will change my mind and save it for winter at some point, but I've had it for at least 2 winters, I think, and I haven't read it during the winter. So maybe this will be, I don't know, maybe I'll read it for Halloween-a-thon, maybe I won't. But this is, I think, about like a creepy snowman, and that sounds great. I watched Jack Frost, the 1990s one. I don't remember what year it was. The Jack Frost one, where the spirit of a criminal, kind of like in the movie Chucky, inhabits a snowman. And oh my god, I can't believe I haven't ever seen that movie before. I watched it for the first time last year. It is so much fun, and I really hope that that is indeed, I'm right, and that is about a creepy snowman, because oh my god, then I'd watch Jack Frost again. It would be so good. Then I have Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. This is a book. I have no idea what it's about. My copy of it has no synopsis on the back. It's not a hardcover, so it's not like Inside the Dust Jacket. There's just a lot of blurbs on the inside. I don't know. I don't know what this is about. I'm assuming someone gets stuck in a rest stop and something bad happens. Sounds gross. Next we have Wisteria Cottage by Robert M. Coates. This is one I've had for a while. This was a reissue from Valancourt, so this is an older book. And it's about this family of women. It's like a mother and her daughters who befriend this handsome, nice bookstore clerk. And he seems just normal until, I guess he's not. He like convinces them to rent this summer cottage, and he goes with them, which seems a little bit forward. Like, what are they doing? Is he gonna see their ankles while they're there? That's inappropriate. But I guess like he's just not a nice guy and has been hiding it this whole time. And then what are these poor ladies trapped in a cottage going to do? I also have had on my shelves Infernal Glow by Charles T. Dobb. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone recommend this or talk about reading this at all. I love the cover artwork though. This looks like Keelan Patrick Burke did the cover. Yeah, so from what I understand about this, it seems like it's maybe a horror fantasy type novel. There's something happening to this guy. He wakes up and he's in a maze. So that doesn't usually happen. When I go to bed, when I wake up, I'm usually still in my bed. So I don't know any more than that. That's it. That's all I know. Oh boy. Then I'm gonna give Violent Faculties by Charlene Elsby another try. I have it marked. I read 3 chapters of this. This was about 50 pages. And this is about a woman who is really upset about being let go from her job in the psychology department. And she's been luring people in. I believe it's like people that she works with or students maybe. And she has been conducting experiments on them, and it is a really mean book, I guess is all I'll say about that. It turned my stomach. It was so hard for me to read, especially with what was going on in my life at that point. So I decided to put it down, but I would like to try it again. It's written really smartly, I feel like. It's very clinical. It's like you're reading someone's notes on a study, right? Like it sounds like she's going to work up an abstract for this and write it for like a scientific journal or some shit. It's very clinical and sterile, and I think that's also what kind of made it hard for me to deal with, is that there's a level of detachment and curiosity that is like so sinister. So I don't know. I hope I can push through it, but if I can, I can, right? I also have her book Hexus, again, Charlene Elsby, and I have no idea what this is about. This is one of those synopsises where it's like there is a monologue from the main character, and it really does, it gives you like maybe an idea of what might happen, but it doesn't actually tell you what you're going to read about in this book. So I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I'm honestly scared. Then we have Hunger on the Chisholm Trail by M. Ennenbach. This is the second of the splattered westerns books put out by Death's Head Press, and I read the first one. These all have different authors, although I think maybe some people have more than one entry in the like series, I guess it would be. But the first one was by somebody different, and this one's by M. Ennenbach. And I did like the first one I read pretty well, so I hope that this one's good also. This is about some men on a cattle drive, right? So they need to move the cattle from one place to another, and it's Western, obviously. It takes place years and years ago, 100 years ago maybe, and more than that probably. And there's some sort of creature. And from the cover, it looks like maybe this creature turns other creatures into the undead. But I don't know. I love the artwork on these though. That's honestly why I picked them up initially. But I've had both of these for quite some time, or this one. I read the other one, but I've had them for quite some time and I just really would like to finally fucking read them. Then we have Father of Lies by Brian Evenson. I read his book Last Days a couple months ago and was absolutely floored by it. It was so good and I loved the main character. I have high hopes for this one. This one is actually like the one that most intrigued me when I was buying Brian Evenson's books for the first time, because it deals with religious stuff. So this person, Provost Eldon Fox, I don't know what, is that his first name or is that a title? What is Provost? Provost? Is that a name? Are there any provosts out there? I don't know, but he is it seems like he's some sort of leader in the church and he's committing crimes against children, it seems, right? Some sort of bad crimes that the church wants to cover up, and so they have, and that's just about all I know. Another older book on my list is The Cormorant by Stephen Gregory, another one that was reissued by Valancourt Press, and this is about a family. The uncle dies and he leaves them this cottage, another spooky cottage, but the thing is that he has this pet cormorant, which is like a large seabird. Usually, I think they usually live by the coast, and he, in his will, he specifies that he needs the family to care for that, but like, I don't know, somehow that's spooky, I guess, in some ways. Maybe the house is spooky, maybe the cormorant's spooky, I guess, I don't know. Then we have Sister Funtime by Spencer Hamilton, another excellent cover, I love this cover, and this is about an orphanage run by an evil nun, and that's it. The next book I have here is The Resurrectionist by Michael Patrick Hicks. This is about a man named Salem Hawley, and he is a freed black man, I believe, won his emancipation after fighting on the side of the colonies during the American Revolution. So he is a freed black man in a time where that wasn't so common. There's a problem in the city with resurrectionists. So those are people who are basically grave robbers, right? And they target black cemeteries because who cares? You know, who's gonna do anything about it? It's better than us kind of a thing. And so he's going to go after them. It seems like there's got to be some cosmic horror in this because of course, the tentacles. Also, I don't really like cosmic horror that much. Sometimes I do though. But I'm kind of interested in this because I'm taking a class right now on early American history, and this is something that I'm going to be, this is a topic that's going to be covered in this class, I'm assuming sometime soon, right? It'll be interesting to tie in the shit that I learned about in that class with whatever's going on in this book if I read it. And now, one of the nonfiction books I've chosen. This is Ouija by Stoker Hunt. I always want to say Stroker, like Bram Stoker, Stoker Hunt. That is not it. But like, I have to actively think about it and not say Stroker. So this is by Stoker Hunt, and this is a nonfiction about the Ouija board, the history of the Ouija board, what the dangers are in using a Ouija board, apparently, things like that. So I'm sure it'll be a blast. Next we have Zero Saints by Gabino Iglesias. I think this is going to be more of like a horror or a crime thriller, maybe with some horror elements, some supernatural elements. This is about a man who is kidnapped by some sort of gang. He's with his friend when this happens. They kill his friend and feed his body parts to something, it says. So I don't know what that is, but I think he takes revenge on this group of people. Also on my list, Beautiful Atrocities by Ross Jeffrey. This is a collection of stories, so I don't really have a synopsis. I don't think that these have like a theme to them necessarily, so it's just a collection. Another collection, coincidentally, is The Midnight Exhibit, Volume 1, and this was put out by, what is this one? Unnerving Press. Short fiction from Stephen Graham Jones, Philip Fracassi, and Renee Miller. So two of those people are two of my favorite authors, so I'm really looking forward to this. Then I have The Wingspan of Severed Hands by Joe Coach. This is a story about 3 women dealing with some sort of, it seems like an apocalyptic hellscape on Earth. If it's not literally apocalyptic, it sure fucking sounds like it is. This is a little bit of a longer one, but I'm putting it on there because I really, like, why haven't I read this? I don't know. But it's You've Lost a Lot of Blood by Eric LaRocca. I love their books also so much. One of my favorite authors. Beautiful, beautiful writing. And this is also a book where the back of it doesn't really tell you what's going on. So I actually don't know anything about this book, but how beautiful the cover. I think this is another one by, this is artwork from the man who did the Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke art. Next we have another novella that has 2 authors. This is Those Who Go Forth into the Empty Place of Gods by Curtis M. Lawson and Doug Rinaldi. And this one actually sounds really weird. It's about a man who is a contestant on a TV show, right? And one of his guesses is a phrase of forbidden knowledge, and now it's, I don't know, open the gates to hell or unleash some sort of cosmic monstrosity or something like that. I guess I'll have to find out when I read it, but it sounds like really weird. I want to read it. I really want to read this. Next we have How We Broke by Bracken McLeod and Paul Michael Anderson, another one with 2 authors. How interesting. So this is really short, and it's about 2 siblings coming together after their father's death. I believe they like go to some sort of like cabin or vacation home, or maybe like the home where their dad was living, but it seems like they are away from their homes according to the synopsis, and so they're kind of isolated, and I don't know, what are they going to do in the aftermath of this tragedy, I guess, kind of a thing. I don't really know what it's about, just like all of these. How Strange, another novella about families having a bad time and being in an isolated space. This is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Marceau. And this is another like wintry book. I could save this for winter, I guess, if it doesn't come up in my random picks, I suppose. But this is about a family together in a cabin, and it looks from the cover art, right, that they're like stuck there. Like maybe there's a snowstorm or something, but they're also trying to work shit out, and like don't plan a vacation just to do that. That sounds terrible. A vacation's where you go to forget about your problems and try to repress all your family trauma, not to deal with it. That's insane. Okay, now this is a book I am really very intrigued about. This is Nafando by Monica Ojeda. She also wrote the book Jawbone, if you're familiar with that one at all. And this is about a video game that helps you deal with trauma. And I'm assuming things go horribly wrong, right? Because otherwise it wouldn't be a horror novel. It would be like a nice, sweet bedtime story. But that's all I know. It's translated by Sarah Booker. I feel like that's important to put out there. And also, what a rad cover. I love it. My other nonfiction for this month is Mysterious Sea Monsters of California's Central Coast by Randall A. Reinstead. It says, featuring Bobo, Monterey Bay, and its vast submarine canyon. So this is about mysterious sea monsters, of course. And I got this at the Monterey Bay Aquarium a couple years ago, and I haven't read it. So it's very short. I guess there's just not many mysteries along the central coast of California. Also on my list, this one is a little bit longer, but I do also have an audio copy of this, so I might, or I have access to it. I don't know if I bought it or if I just wish listed it on Libro FM, but there is an audio book that if I pick this, I'll probably listen to. And this is called Let the Woods Keep Our Bodies by E.M. Roy, and this is about a teenage girl who gets blamed when her friend disappears in the woods. She gets blamed for this disappearance, and I don't know what else happens after that. I'm not sure if she goes to explore or if, I guess I just don't fucking know, but I would like to know. I also love the color scheme of this. It's very eye-catching. On my list, very Halloween-y looking. Actually, I accidentally wore a very Halloween-y looking shirt today too, my Cro-Mag shirt. This is The Shapes of Night by Mary San Giovanni. Matchy, on accident. It's an accident. But this is about children who have gone missing in this town, and a teacher teams up with like a former student to get to the bottom of it. Also on my list, a gift from Rochelle. Thank you, Rochelle. This is I Think I'm Alone Now by Ali C. This is one I've been dying to read solely based on the cover. Look at that. Oh, it's so good. This is from Grindhouse Press, and what a design. I love it so much. This is about, I don't know if it says how old she is, but she seems to be like maybe older elementary, maybe middle school aged, in my head at least. But this must take place a few years ago because it calls her a feral Gen Xer, and she is a latchkey kid, it says, which, if you're not familiar with the term, it's a term for kids who probably were the first generation where their parents were at work in the afternoon when they would come home from school. So they would have to spend a couple hours home alone without a mother in the house until their parents came home from work. Not that no women worked outside of the home before then, but it was a bigger phenomenon, I guess, at that point in time. So she is home alone for a few hours on weekdays, and she has a creepy neighbor man, and I am simultaneously concerned and intrigued by what might happen in this book. Another book that's a little bit longer than novella length, but still pretty short, and I'm excited about this. This is called The Body Harvest by M.J. Sedlinger, Michael J. Sedlinger. He wrote the infamous Is Anybody Home a couple years ago, which was about home invasion. This sounds disgusting. This is about people who are bug catchers, which means they intentionally get sick. They intentionally catch viruses, catch diseases. Ew, I want to know about it. There was something a little bit like that, a lot like that, I feel like, in Brainworms by Alison Rumfitt, and it grossed me out. So I'm excited to be grossed out again. Then on my list is Mewing by Chloe Spencer. This is about a woman who is trying to get in with the influencers. I think that they live in this like, oh yeah, they live and work together in one big house. So they're called the Bleach Babes, and this woman wants in. I mean, when you add that to like a horror book, I just am so excited about the potentials. Then I have Blue Jay by Megan Stockton. I've heard a lot about this recently. I think this is a newer release, if not a release from this year. But this is about a group of friends who love gnarly, disgusting movies. One of them scores tickets to what is supposed to be a very realistic kind of snuff film, I'm guessing. And maybe it's not exactly as advertised. Then I have Beneath Ash and Bone by D. Alexander Ward. This is another one that really could be left for the winter months, but maybe it'll come up in my drawings and maybe it won't. This takes place during the Civil War, and it's about, I think, like a sheriff maybe, or somebody who's tasked with finding a missing child during this snowstorm, and he comes across something horrible. Then we have Candy by Justin Woodward. This is about a woman named Candy, or maybe, I don't know, is she a woman? She seems young. A young woman named Candy, who is kind of a vigilante, it seems. And she tracks down, kind of Dexter-like, tracking down serial killers and making sure they don't offend again. Okay, we're on the finish line here. I'm also planning on reading Books of Blood Volume 1 by Clive Barker, which is a short story collection. Jedi Summer with the Magnetic Kid by John Bowden. This is like a summer coming of age story. I've got a couple of Filthy Loots on the list. Dirt in the Sky, which is a little anthology collection, as is Isolation is Safety. Then we also have Meth DTF by Shane Jesse Christmas. and I don't really know what this is about, but it takes place in Los Angeles. It says, I am a science fiction novel with no science fiction references. I also am really hoping to get to Smart as the Devil by Felice Picano this month. This is a vintage novel, and it's about a psychologist who is like, listen, there is no such thing as evil child, only children who need help, until he meets a child that might actually be evil. Okay, and finally, some teen horror, right? I've got Let's Get Invisible, which is a Goosebumps book. This is more middle grade, not exactly teen, but that's by R.L. Stine, of course. I've got Trick or Treat by Richie Tinkersley Cusick, which is a point horror. I was so excited to find a copy of this finally that was like not way too fucking expensive. So this is about, I don't know, Halloween pranks gone wrong. And finally, a Fear Street book. This is College Weekend by R.L. Stine, about a teenager who goes to visit her college boyfriend. And then people start disappearing, of course. So I thought that this is appropriate as I started another semester a couple weeks ago. Okay, so here is my, like, the books that I'm going to be randomly choosing from for a Halloween-a-thon. Of course, as always, I'd love to know if you've read any of these, if there are any of these I should prioritize. I will be, for the most part, doing random draws, but depending on my game board rolls, there will also be times where I get to choose. So if there's any you think I should prioritize, let me know. If there's any recommendations, period, that you have of novellas that I don't have here that you really loved, please let me know, because I'm always looking for them. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you hopefully in the Halloween-a-thon Discord. Goodbye!